Hi, Weirdos. Welcome to Keep It Weird, the podcast for all things strange and unusual, unexplained and overwhelmed, silly, spicy, spooky, and everything in between. Every time we get together, we chat about something weird. And this week, we are doing just that. Join us as we traverse the planet in search of strangeness, ponder the mysteries that remain unsolved, and search for the missing, wherever they may be. Put on your thinking caps and join us for another weird adventure. My name is Ashley, and this is my co-host, Lauren.
Hi, Weirdos. Lovely to be with you.
Lovely to be here. Hey, anything crazy happening?
Yeah, anything
in the world right now?
Any like current events that are
any current
really
events that you guys want to address on today's episode?
Not only did our favorite month and favorite holiday come to a close, but then we were slapped in the face by,
but then our favorite timeline came to an end, which was a timeline of relative peace and understanding,
peace and hope and love. Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks.
It's been a time,
but we don't want to harp on it too much. Besides saying how much we love all of you weirdos who are here with us, watching or listening, supporting us in any way. How much this show brings us joy and hope in its own way, and we are just going to keep putting out the weird, having a good time, hopefully cheering you up if you need it, if you have had a hard, scared, difficult couple of weeks. And we're all in this together. Take some deep breaths, do some self-care, and get really weird with us.
Lauren and I were just talking before we started recording about the 2016 to 2020, those 4 years, and all the incredible things that happened to us in those 4 years. We started Keep It Weird in those 4 years.
In that time.
Lauren had a child in those 4 years. Like, we did so many fun things. And it's easy to think back and be like, 4 more years of hell. But it's not all going to be hell.
Yeah.
There's going to be little glimpses of heaven in there as well.
Yes, little flashes.
And if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, you know where to find us. We're on social media. We have a Patreon. We have an email address. You know all of them.
Talk to us.
Word vomit it out to us. We'll listen. We're happy to listen. We're probably feeling a lot of the same things you are. So
totally.
Reach out.
Reach out to us.
We also have like a really great network of other weirdos. We have thousands of other listeners who are in the same boat as you. I actually was very surprised at how many. I was surprised and extraordinarily saddened by how many weirdos we had messaging us from other countries expressing how fearful they were. And me having to be like, I'm sorry
that this could affect you as well.
We did this again. Like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So no matter what country you live in or
the whole world is shocked and saddened.
Leader is, reach out. We're here. Well, we're happy to help you through it. And you can help us through it. But for today, fuck them.
Fuck them. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird. I actually...
Real fucking weird.
My first story, I was very lucky in preparation for this episode because everything that I have prepared for this episode, I had prepared for the X-Files episode. And
that's right.
We just went on so long with Billy that I didn't get to him. So I've had my notes for like ever, which I tell you that now because as I'm thinking about it, I have not revisited my notes.
So you're like, have I changed since everything that's happened?
Yeah. Am I a different person now?
Okay. Well, we're gonna listen in live together.
We're gonna learn together. But this first story is fun because where in the world is we're going? Where in the world where in the world are we going?
Where are you taking Yes, I love trips.
I'm taking you on a trip to my home country.
Oh.
Not my home state, my home country. We're going to Italy.
Mm. Even my ring light was excited. It just went,
Even your ring
"Woo!"
light got excited about that.
Oh, so happy. I love Italian food. I just want cheese. I want pasta. Let's go.
There is no pasta in this story, but
Oh,
technically
well,
there's
all
always
right.
pasta in Italy. So,
I mean, so like pasta is adjacent to the story, and that's like
for
really all
sure,
I'm looking for. Yeah.
the people that I'm going to talk about in the story eat pasta.
Okay, perfect.
So, we're going to a small Sicilian village called Canneto di Caronia,
Beautiful.
which is home to only about like 150 people. It's a very small village.
That's very small.
And it got even smaller in 2003 and 2004 because many people in that village had to abandon their homes due to strange, unexplained fires.
Okay, tell me more. Fires in their home, on the land, on their pets.
All of the above. It started on December 23rd, 2003, in the home of Antonino Pezzino when his television randomly exploded.
Sure.
Similar reports, sure. Yeah, why not?
Of course.
Similar reports started coming in from all over the village. Fuse boxes, air conditioners, kitchen appliances, computers, and even electronic car door locks were spontaneously blowing up.
And it wasn't, wait, what time of year was this? It's not like extreme heat. Like there's no reason for this
No,
at all.
it was December
Okay.
23rd.
Oh,
And
like the opposite.
Italy, yeah, and this village in Italy has a very mild temperature anyway, like all year round.
Okay.
Like there's no extreme heat or extreme cold.
Okay.
On February 9th, 2004, two houses burned down in Viamar, and the mayor declared a state of emergency and issued an order to evacuate the 39 residents from their homes and into the town's only hotel.
Wow, that's
The
huge.
Italian power utility company even cut power to the town in order to put a stop to the fires. But they started anyway.
No, so even without electricity.
Without power.
Okay.
No electricity.
Yep.
They were just starting spontaneously.
That's insane.
From January to March of 2004, 92 fires were reported.
92 in that short time.
92 in 3 months in 2004.
Okay, that's
So
wild and woolly, I will say.
an investigation was launched by the local prosecutor in February of that year, and by March, they had already witnessed malfunctions in compasses, electronics in cars, and even cell phones. So by April, the government formed a research group. The team had cooperation from the nation's armed forces, the police, as well as the utilities companies. And that team, the team that they put together, reported anomalous electromagnetic activity,
Oh.
unexplained lights, and even one of their helicopters losing power and had strange rotor damage once they like landed it and like safely got it to the ground.
Even up in the sky if you're in this area. Interesting.
Yeah. So not even in the sky are you safe. Scientists from the National Research Institute investigated as well with the support of NASA physicists. So like NASA got involved
Like the
because
big
they did
guns were
not
coming
know
in.
what the fuck was going on.
I mean, truly, this is baffling. This is wild.
It's so crazy. In the end, the town was investigated by scientists, engineers, police, the government, and even paranormal research groups, but no one ever figured it out.
What? No one knows?
No one knows to this day. There are theories, and we're going to talk about them.
Okay, I need every theory. So I'm like, I have no idea. Why? Why? EMF readers off the charts on this investigation.
The electromagnetic energy that was happening was absolutely insane to the point where it was causing hundreds of fires. So, do you know the name Father Gabriel Amorth?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Should I?
I bet you know of him.
Oh no, that was Ashley's nice way of saying like, yes, you should know this person.
Ooh,
It's actually
you
so
should know this
embarrassing
person.
for you. But
Yeah,
I'll hold your hand and walk you through
I
it.
quit.
Actually, the podcast is over and no. Okay. Tell me.
No, I need the podcast at this time. If the podcast ends right now, I will lose my fucking mind.
It's therapy.
It's my only therapy. So,
Okay, tell me.
Father Gabriel Amorth, he's most famous for being the Pope's exorcist. They made a movie about him.
Yep. Uh-huh. Okay. This is ringing bells now.
Yeah. There's actually a documentary that came out a year after he died called The Devil and Father Amorth. It follows some of his many exorcisms.
Mm.
Now, he naturally believed that this was the work of the devil.
Sure.
And he urged the local parish priest, Don Antonio Cipriani, love him.
I love the Italiano. Italian names are just next level.
They really are. So he urged this local parish priest, Cipriani, to take action. But Cipriani and the residents got together and decided that they would let the scientists have the first go at the investigation. It's the most progressive thing the Catholic Church has done in 200 years.
Truly, my goodness.
Like,
you let science take the wheel? I can't.
We're just going to let them investigate it, and if they can't solve it, maybe we'll bring in, the big guns and have an exorcism.
Then we're going to go for the exorcist, but like, I guess
For
science
now, we'll
can
let
take a
NASA
stab
take
at it.
charge.
That's fine. Oh my gosh, I love it.
But in the spring of 2004, Canneto was a extremely wild place to be. Like, there were just fire trucks and police jeeps at the entrance of the city, like waiting for the next fire to erupt, even though the residents had already been taken out of this area. So they were just like stationed there.
Right.
There were like vans with large rotating antennas on top measuring the radio waves in the area. There were all kinds of instruments all around to monitor geomagnetic, meteorological.
That is a tough ass word, and I'm really proud of you. I feel like at least one of the three pronunciations you just did was right. Meteorological.
Electromagnetic and electrostatic indicators. These were all over the town, all these vans with like all these like
I'm imagining Twister, to be honest, and like all the vans like set up for the storm chasers, and like Dorothy is getting ready to release her balls into the air. Yep. I'm seeing it.
So those were all over the towns, and they also had all these instruments placed inside the empty homes while the residents were gone to try and measure what was going on. Volcano experts had come in and marked the streets with spray paint everywhere.
Volcano experts? I mean, you gotta
do it all. Weird time to be there. It's literally, it had to have looked like a disaster movie, like end of the world type shit.
Sure, yeah.
Like I said before, Italy's big utility company, they were called Enel, they cut off electricity to the town and hooked it up to a generator. The generator caught fucking fire.
Of course.
The generator caught on fire.
Did. I can't. It's like, this is all we have, and it catches
and
fire.
It caught on fire. They couldn't keep anything from starting on fire. Like I said, no one knows why it happened. One of the theories is that there was a buildup of electrical energy caused by grounding wires, or possibly a super rare natural phenomenon that caused surges of electricity to rise from the Earth's core. Sure.
Okay. That sounds like it is the end of the world, though. I'm like, should we be looking into that more? Okay.
The volcano experts were there because obviously there are volcanoes in the vicinity, but like there are underground volcanoes, so they were like, maybe there's an underground volcano that's about to erupt, but that wasn't the case either.
Doing its thing. Oh my gosh. What?
By June of 2004, the residents were allowed to return to their homes, and the fires stopped.
They just stopped. They were like, we had our season, we're all set.
But then, in 2014, the fires started again. But, oops, this one had a much more natural explanation. Once the fires restarted, the Italian military police installed hidden cameras in the streets, And they ended up arresting Giuseppe Pizzino, a 26-year-old pyromaniac who was charged with arson, conspiracy to commit fraud, and sounding a false alarm.
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe!
Ooh, do you think Giuseppe was like, let me build off of these random fires that nobody knows about, and I'm just gonna like get away with this?
Possibly.
Which, if you're like a scammer and a schemer, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Truly.
I don't know what it gets you, but
yeah, just your love of fire setting. He and his father were implicated in over 40 fires that year. So they set 40 fires, but luckily,
ew,
they were caught. Unfortunately, the fact that they did this has led skeptics to believe that the initial fires that happened 10 years prior had to be arson as well. But even the police in the area were like, no way, Jose. Those fires had plenty of witnesses to attest they started spontaneously in their homes.
I was gonna say, yeah, that doesn't add up.
So the fires remain completely unexplained to this day. Even the paranormal investigators who went in, obviously they said, the electromagnetic readings are crazy town. They're wild sauce. But, like, they never found a demon that they could exorcise.
Bummer. I know we all like to pin it on the demons, but
they never found any, like, natural phenomena that it could have been.
It wasn't the underground volcanoes.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't the power. The generator was attacked, but
the generator was attacked,
like, because of the power. That is so wild, especially that it just ended so abruptly. It's like, stopped. What is going on there? There has to be some natural phenomenon, I would think, that just like maybe is impossible to study. Like, we just don't have any way of measuring it because it didn't fall under meteorologists or volcanists. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, there's a shit ton of stuff we still don't understand about our world and our universe that it could have, been, but we don't know what it was. This reminds me though, there's a new show on Netflix. There's a new series. I don't know what it's called. It's Alien something, UFO investigation, Alien exposed something.
Investigation Alien?
Investigation Alien. It's on Netflix right now. But there was a town in Brazil that I want to say it was in the 70s or the 80s, wherein hundreds of people were burned by lights in the sky. They reported seeing these lights almost like, so like, you know how UFOs these days, there's all these different, there's the tic tacs, there's the disc, there's the, and sometimes there's just a light. And a lot of people call them plasmoids because they don't seem to have
like a
physical shape.
Yeah.
They almost just seem like a light. So these people were seeing these lights in the sky and literally getting burns on their body.
Like bad burns?
Yes.
Like leaving a mark.
It looked like someone put a cigarette out on their body.
Damn, they're getting like branded.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, like UFO, I don't know, but something was occurring in the sky or in the atmosphere or whatever that was sending some sort of energy down and burning people. And this happened to hundreds of people.
It sounds similar to the burn, to be honest. Yeah, like it almost feels like a warning in a way of like the like spontaneous combustion fire situation, and then also like people randomly getting burned. I'm like, is this the warning that we're getting from the Spider Queen, who is you from your alien theory?
By the way, I have saved 2 additional spiders in that bathroom. I don't know what's going on in that bathroom. I've looked around to be like, is there like a nest?
The word has gotten out that you'll be saved if you go there.
I saved one from my shower and another one from my sink.
I don't see a lot of spiders because of my brutal murders to them, and so
they hide from you, and now they're just coming out of the woodwork. I don't have a lot of spiders in my house. I see spiders in 0 other rooms. I don't see them in my office, nowhere else.
Can't spiders come up drains? I feel like drains are a thing for bugs. I don't know. Do they like moisture? No, that's not them. There's an animal. There's a creature that likes. There's a
There
creature that
are
likes
creatures
moisture.
that like moisture, for sure, for sure. I don't think
Spiders
it's
might.
arachnids.
I don't. No, I don't think it is either. But yeah, it feels like some kind of warning is what I was getting at of like, we see you, we're gonna burn the shit out of you, and then they go away because I'm
And then
like,
they go away.
it's always this temporary weird
Well, and
little
that's why I
thing.
wonder if it is intelligent or if it's something about our atmosphere and our world that we just
Right?
don't know anything about yet because we
Like
haven't
you don't
discovered it.
know that this is existing and like this is hurting you, and I don't know.
So,
I am so curious what that could be though, and that like maybe there isn't even like a scientist name for what it is that needs to
mm-mm.
be studied. Because like you said, everybody was flocking to this location, but it was just like we needed this one other thing that we haven't learned yet.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, no.
What?
Maybe it was a demon. Maybe it was a demon. I mean, we didn't perform an exorcism.
Honestly, are we like changing teams?
I'm
It could
changing
be a
teams. I'm
demon.
going full Christian at this point. After the week I've had,
I was gonna say,
praise Jesus.
I know. I'm like, I won't ask any more questions. Like we are officially in our era of like, all right,
All
fine.
right, our
It hasn't been
God
going
is
well
an
for us,
awesome
so
God. He
he
reigns
reigns
from heaven
from heaven
above.
above.
Wouldn't
Oh,
that be crazy? That would be a really crazy heel turn if all of a sudden we were like, actually, we denounce witchcraft and we are Christians now, fully.
look, Jesus like won't leave my face. Okay, there we
No,
go. I was
he's
like, I couldn't get out of my flash of light. Usually it happens a lot quicker than that. That was Jesus. That was
that
an
was Jesus. That
angel
was the Holy Spirit, babe.
glowing, giving me the glow. Wait, what is our segment called? What if God was one of us? What if
What
our
if
whole
God
show
was
just
one of us?
changed to what if God was one of us, but like all positive?
Mm-hmm. No negatives. Not here. Not in the Bible. I don't know if you guys have ever read the Bible, but it's all positive.
It's like all really positive. We moving on.
Yes.
Was there anything else about Italy and fires?
Fucking no. Just weird.
It's so weird. I can't get over it. That is so bizarre. That was a
I know.
really good Where in the World. And I still really
Thank you
want
so
to go
much.
to Italy. I hope a fire doesn't start when I go, but
No, yeah, just avoid the fires.
just like try to avoid those fires that only happened for this short weird ass time. All right, y'all. It's a new segment alert. We haven't added a new segment in a minute. That might not
Not
be
in a
true. I don't
while.
know. Halloween threw me off. But we back with a new segment called The Missing. Where did they go? What are they doing? Without a trace. Oh, we must keep looking. The forest? Oh no. Going hiking? Oh no. Blind date? Say it ain't so. Who can you trust? No one. No one. See, I kept it short.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That was a really great segment opening.
I have to tell our listeners that when I told Ashley I had a new segment, she knows me so well that she was like, just so you know, when you create a new segment, the intro doesn't actually have to be an entire 2-minute
No,
song.
we don't need an Emmy award winning performance.
Like, you can just say the title if you want. And I was like, fair. And I love that you know me.
Listen, no, that was perfect. That was perfect for the missing. Missing people is so unnerving and scary to me.
So unnerving and scary. And which is, my bread and butter. I love to be dark and horrible,
For
but
sure.
it's like we have true crime time and we have our unsolved mysteries, which like all could go hand in hand in certain ways, but missing people
Totally.
has its own mysterious impact where like either, you'll just hear somebody went hiking, they went missing, they never came back, they could be lost to the forest, they could have fallen off a cliff, like we don't know. And that is mysterious
Bigfoot
and
could have taken
horrible
them.
and sad in its own. Yes, a big old Sasquatch came for him. We don't know, truly. Aliens, anything. But then, like, which those cases are important in themselves. I'm not diminishing that, but I was like, the reason I wanted to come up with this segment of the missing is because some cases just like I can't stop thinking about. I'm like staying up at night thinking about or going down rabbit holes on TikTok truly. And it's
Girl.
just like so much weirdness happened right before their disappearance. They're acting so strange. You just hear those stories where it's like, but what happened? And how did they vanish without a trace? And why were they so disoriented? And it's just all bizarre. And there are countless stories like this. So I went down a TikTok rabbit hole, and that is what led me to create this segment. And
Lovely.
so I'm like, and there could be so many cases involved in this. But today I am starting with a case of a woman named Christine Walters. Christine Lindsay Walters of Wisconsin.
She sounds like a news reporter.
It does. I know, which Walters, I mean.
Just because of
naturally.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Babwa.
Babwa. Babwa.
Babwa Walters.
Walters, absolutely, but also it's just a strong name. Like Christine Walters
it's a really
is
strong
just good. Missing since 2008, so 16 years, and she's like about to hit the 16-year anniversary. I feel like right when this episode comes out. These are November dates, so I didn't even mean to do that, but it was very weird.
Here we are.
In 2008, 23-year-old Christine Lindsay Walters was a college student known for her friendly, adventurous energy. Tale as old as time, sweet, happy, free spirit.
If I've learned anything from true crime stories or missing person stories, is don't light up a room.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be beloved by everyone that knows you. Start being a real bitch, because if everyone loves you, apparently, tragedy is about to strike.
This is why having boundaries and like being a bitch when you need to be is very important.
Real cunt.
If you light up a room and
life.
are like the most loved person in your town, if you are the popular girl for the right reasons, then I'm so sorry. Like you're going to go missing or you're going to be brutally murdered.
If something happened to me, I don't know a person that would be like, she lit up a room.
Well, I would, but
more people would be like, the vibe was weird when she was around.
No, everyone loves you who meets you, but it is funny because the term light up a room feels wrong to use for you, but like every time I bring you to a party, all of my friends do fall in love with you and adore you, but it's more like she says it like it is, and she talks about spooky, interesting things, so I'm like, she spooks up a room.
I spook up a room, okay?
But no, still you are very loved, so actually I don't think you're safe, so we'll have to see.
Oh, great. Well,
everybody watch out for Ashley.
Keep your eyes on me.
This beautiful angel, Christine Walters, a college student, vanished. No, but that is not, we're not to that part yet, but yes. She had studied botany at the University of Wisconsin while also teaching yoga and Pilates and working at an organic farm on the side. She was all about the environment, veganism, saving the world. She also lived with her family at their home in Deerfield until she decided to make a major life move in the summer of 2008. It was during school break, and Christine had visited Portland, Oregon to visit some of her friends. She thought she was just going to stay for 3 weeks, fun summer trip. She had bought a round trip plane ticket, so this was true. But as the end of her trip was nearing, she said to her family, I've fallen in love with the West Coast. I really want to stay longer. I need to delay my return to school. I know it's starting in a couple weeks, but like I'm going to talk to my teachers and delay because I need to stay here, which they were like, that's not like our favorite thing, but I mean, you got to learn about yourself. You're young. Enjoy.
Amen.
Christine wound up in Eureka, California, which is situated in Humboldt County and located right on the Pacific coast. And despite Humboldt County's reputation for being extremely dangerous and having the second highest murder rate within the state of California, which I'm going to talk on later, that's why I'm bringing it up, Christine's move did seem to go smoothly. Like, obviously her parents are doing the research and they're like, Humboldt County. But
and they're like, Christine, are you sure? This is like when my parents drove me to LA, and the first apartment that I lived in was in like Hollywood
you were
proper.
like
it was right
central
next
Hollywood.
Yeah, you know where I lived.
Yeah.
But right across the street was this building that had clearly paid for the graffiti. Like, it wasn't like graffiti. It was like clearly like a designed, like someone paid to graffiti the whole side of this building.
Was it Banksy?
But my parents, like when we pulled up, they were like, and I was like, bye, living my dream.
Bye. I'll visit you at Christmas.
I'll see you soon. I guarantee they cried the whole fucking way home. They were like, what have we done? Where have we left our daughter?
They're just hearing like gunshots, a generator started on fire 100 feet away.
Chaos.
I
Okay.
know, but those sweet Midwestern parents. I mean, I'm like, yeah, Wisconsin. She's from Wisconsin. Like those
We get it.
salt of the earth parents, were worried, but they actually were pleasantly surprised because her move to California actually seemed to go really smoothly. She was checking in with her family pretty regularly, and so there wasn't a whole lot of concern. It seemed like she had a good community, and they were like, okay, we can do
Nice.
this. Like, she has a place to live. It's fine. But then Christine's communication out of nowhere, after about a month and a half, did become more infrequent and sporadic and
Mm.
like short. When she would get a hold of her family and chat with them, she was keeping it very short and sweet, which was like not like her at all. She would love to connect with her family and friends back home and like go on, but she was keeping it very short, and then the calls became more infrequent. And additionally, she started to ask for money from her parents, which was even more unlike her. She was very independent and always managed to find her way, even if it was a little bit like of this nomadic lifestyle since she came to the West Coast. Like, she was good at finding her way and her people. And she's always been super independent, free spirited, not about materialistic things at all either. So it felt like such a red flag to be asking for money and saying like she needs to get all these things that she would normally not care about. And so we're in the fall of 2008 now, and parents are starting to get slightly more worried. Still nothing like too insane, but like, okay, she's changed a bit. And on November 12th, Christine showed up on a stranger's doorstep in Arcata in Northern California. It was in the morning, but she had no clothes on. Her body was covered head to toe in little cuts. Looked like maybe she had fallen into bushes, like some brush, like just all these tiny little scratches and
Okay.
cuts, like bleeding pretty badly. And her feet were like purple because they were so bloodied, like maroon, like or purple because it's just like dark blood all over her feet. She was
Okay.
freezing cold to the touch and, I mean, shivering, hungry, thirsty. She was confused, disoriented. It had seemed like something horrific had just happened to this woman. The couple in Arcata, whose house she showed up at, they immediately contacted police, wrapped her in a warm blanket, and police picked her up, transported her to St. Joseph's Hospital in Eureka. And she didn't say a lot to investigators, but she said that she had walked a very long way and she thought somebody in the woods was after her, trying to catch her. Authorities
Okay.
perform a drug test, of course. I mean, first and foremost, they're like, whoa, but it was negative. She had like nothing in her
That
system.
was like my only guess. I
I
was like, she got
know.
into drugs. She got into drugs and now she needs money for drugs and she's, oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's like
Okay.
somebody suddenly starts asking for money and they've been like kind of a free spirit, like the drugs. No, like
Yeah.
nothing in her system. So, they're
Okay.
questioning her. The drug test is negative. All of her vitals end up being okay once, she's warmed up and fed. And so they really have no choice but to just discharge her from the hospital. And police, are like, we can't suspect any foul play. I think you just went on a long hike and got scratched up. I don't know. So at that point, police bring her to the Red Lion Inn. It's located at 1929 4th Street in Eureka. And they contact her parents and just say, like, this is what we think happened. We don't really know the whole story, but she's safe at this hotel. And her parents are like, we just want to get her back to Deerfield, Wisconsin. Like, what can we do? So then Christine finally gets on the phone with them, still isn't giving them much information, but says, I've lost all of my identification. So I can't board a flight back home. I don't have my driver's license, my passport. I don't really have like any of my personal belongings. Still not telling them why, how, when, just says that. So on November 14th, her mom faxes personal documents, her license and social security card to a local copy center. Christine is on camera arriving at this establishment around 3:30 p.m. on November 14th. She's wearing pajamas. She's looking disheveled. She's looking disoriented and confused once again, but she's there. She's receiving the documents her mom sent her. Her father had reportedly wired her $1,000 to her bank account to cover the air travel. This all happens. She exits the copy center, all caught on camera, and then she is never seen again. The last person to talk to her at the copy center said she asked how to get to the local DMV. They told her it was about a mile away. She says, thank you. And she walks away. She's been missing ever since. Last time she's caught on camera, last time a witness has claimed to see her. She never withdraws the $1,000 from her bank account. She never books a flight. Her IDs are never found that she received at the copy center. The employees working there that day said her demeanor was fearful. It was anxious. She was in her pajamas and her dirty slippers, and it looked like she was trying to make a getaway. She was shifty, looking over her shoulder. Her parents officially reported her missing on November 17th of 2008 after never contacting them again or booking the flight. And her original personal belongings were eventually found, money and her IDs that she claimed to have lost. They were in a backpack at the Green Life Evolution Center where she had been right before this like long, mysterious walk that she took.
Okay, what the fuck is the Green Life Evolution Center?
It's like, I know, and I'm gonna
What?
get into like more of it, but it was like basically like a nature and community center where they would do like meditations,
Okay.
they would do guided
Okay.
hikes, and she went there often, and it was normal for her to leave her belongings there and then go on a walk, which makes it even weirder that she goes on this mysterious walk, turns up like without any clothes and all cut up and freezing, and saying like, I don't know where my belongings are. I don't know why I was walking for so long. So it's like, what happened that you wouldn't remember that this place you go to often? The owner of this business claimed that like this was again a normal thing for Christine to do when she would go on walks in the Arcata Community Forest, but why her lost identification was like perfectly packed away in her backpack and she was pretending not to know, they were also very confused by it. So, following Christine's strange disappearance, her parents decided to hire a private investigator to look into the case, and they discovered that shortly before she ended up at the couple's doorstep and then to the hospital, she did say she was going to a tea cleansing ceremony. It was occurring on November 7th, 2008, and involved people consuming ayahuasca. And I'm sure most of you have heard about it. We've talked about it on here, but if not, it is a hallucinogenic.
If you want to barf and shit your pants at the same time,
well,
take
maybe
ayahuasca.
seeing God or the devil.
Do you want to meet God above and shit your pants at the exact same time? Drink ayahuasca. I'm going to do an ayahuasca commercial.
Ayahuasca.
You'll talk to your younger self. You'll forgive your sister for all of the things that she did to you. And you'll poop in your pants.
Ayahuasca for shitting yourself and facing childhood trauma. Ding.
Okay, so when was this tea ceremony supposed to take place?
November 7th, 2008 was the supposed tea ceremony, but November 14th was when she faxed the documents. So I think it was the 12th. Yes, it was the 12th, because I was like, why did I have 12 in here? Yeah, on the 12th was when she appeared at the doorstep. So this is like 5 days after the tea ceremony.
Wouldn't ayahuasca stay in your system?
That's the other thing that's weird. And the thing is, no witnesses came forward saying like, yes, she was at the tea ceremony. She said she was going on the 7th. It was going to be after this hike that she took when she left her things at the center. So individuals who have consumed ayahuasca, again, just in case you aren't familiar, hallucinogenic substance brewed from a South American vine. People consuming ayahuasca have reported having spiritual awakenings. Side effects may include deep confusion, paranoia, hallucinations, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, tremors, more. It's crazy. And it's like a way to discover yourself, look inside your soul. It's supposed to be, you know, a form of like deep therapy and meditation, but crazy physical side effects, seeing a lot of darkness, like not for the weak. You have to know what you're signing up for.
And if you don't have like a guide, you're not supposed to just like take ayahuasca in your living room. You're supposed to have a spiritual guide who will, one, make sure that no harm comes to you while you are under the influence of this drug, but also like guides you through maybe the darker parts of your trip. So if this was a ayahuasca ceremony that, you know, wasn't done properly, yeah, you could end up lost in the woods and not know who you are or where you came from.
And that's the thing is like, I mean, maybe she did do it, but I feel like a few days later it would still be in her system. Maybe I don't know enough about the drug,
I'm
and
Googling
like
it.
from the research I found, I feel like it's like depending on how much you've consumed and how many days have gone by, which it wasn't that many days between the ceremony and when she went to the hospital. So it's a little strange that no drugs were in her system, but maybe she didn't take as much and it somehow was out of her system. But basically, between the time she left her personal belongings at this community center, went on her walk, maybe showed up to the tea ceremony. Very hard to confirm exactly what happened there because, again,
Girl,
like people were, it was an illegal activity that like really shouldn't be happening in the US. So I think people were probably hush hush about it very intentionally, but we don't really know what happened between her dropping off her belongings, her walk, her ayahuasca
walk.
ceremony, and when she appeared at this couple's doorstep. We don't know. That is the missing piece. But she was never the same after that. She was so like tight lipped, disoriented, seemed like she was trying to escape someone.
According to Google, actually, according to the bocarecoverycenter.com, DMT will only show up in urine tests between 24 to 48 hours after the last use.
Okay, so
So
if
that's
this was
crazy.
like 4 to 5 days later, they wouldn't have tracked it.
It wouldn't have been in her system.
Which, yeah, I
Interesting.
wondered. And I also didn't know, like, we don't know how much she had taken. Like, did she even make it to the tea ceremony? Like, there is so much to that. It seems like she did because she was so
Hmm.
changed. But, like, what happened? Like, after, during? Why were you alone walking in the woods? And, like, how did you find yourself at this, like, random couple's doorstep and just all the things?
Naked. Yeah, go on.
And again, the hospital discharged her. The police were like, I mean, she seems normal enough that like we're going to let her go. She doesn't seem like a danger to herself. No one wanted to admit her to the
No
psych ward, so it was
psychiatric
just
hold.
like, okay, so here we go. And so again, this week here in November will mark 16 years since Christine vanished, and her family still is continuing the search for answers. They have created a Facebook page entitled Help Find Christine Lindsay Walters to continue spreading awareness. Her mother is very vocal in that group and many other forums and groups online, and she's never stopped searching for her daughter, which is heartbreaking and sweet all at the same time. And she's holding on to that hope that I don't have in my black soul. Um, at the time she vanished, Christine was 5'1", weighed 125 pounds, had red hair, green eyes. She may go by names such as Airy Meadow, Star, Meadow, or Airy Star. She has a large iris tattoo inked in the colors green and purple on the back of her neck, as well as a tiny black butterfly tattoo on her left hip. And she had numerous ear piercings and a nose ring. So I also feel like as part of this missing person segment, if it's somebody, who is still missing, because who knows, there may be some where they're found, but the whole story is still mysterious. But anyone who's missing, I still want to give the descriptions that are out there, the websites you can go to.
Absolutely.
And if you have any information on this person, on this area of Humboldt County, to contact the sheriff's office. I'll even say the number here, even though I know Google is our helper, but 707-445-7251. And before I fully like step off this segment, I did want to touch back on the deal about Humboldt County that I promised earlier.
Yeah.
So then I went down a second rabbit hole. I will go shorter on this, but Humboldt County up in Northern California is home to a large portion of the coastal redwoods forest, and it's about 250 miles north of San Francisco and largely dense forest. In 2021, Humboldt County had a population of just over 136,000, with a large portion being college students and transients from out of state looking for a more low-key, free-spirited life. That's why it attracted Christine. It attracts a lot of people. And there's an area in Humboldt County called Alder Point, which is often referred to as Murder Mountain. And it got its name after a couple, James and Suzanne Carson, went on a murder spree in the early 1980s. And it also
Whoa.
was known for having a heavy black market marijuana production, obviously long before it became legal. Since the 70s, the area has been a hotspot for illicit marijuana production because of how isolated it is, and the area's booming economy for marijuana and free-spirited reputation attracts more and more people to come. But it lies in this area called the Emerald Triangle along with 2 other counties. Humboldt completes an upside-down triangle that makes up the largest cannabis-producing region, and the need for workers needed on the marijuana farms was growing and growing as time went on. And many of these workers would come from Humboldt State University in the summertime, which was when Christine came there, and they were, trimming the marijuana buds and trying to just make like some extra money. They're college kids, but, and this is all allegedly and a lot of rumors, but it was known that this could be a toxic place because the people running these farms
are drug dealers.
Yes. Knew that everyone coming in was transients, young, naive people that they could easily coax into kind of doing whatever they wanted. So there is a lot of sexual favors asked. Allegedly, there were bosses asking for oral sex acts in order to get paid. Some people would ask their workers to trim the buds while topless. There are stories of 2 growers who had a sexual relationship with one of their trimmers, and not wanting her to run away, they locked her inside of a shed anytime that she wasn't working and forced her to just like live there as a prisoner. Again, this is all alleged, but many women have reported how toxic and horrible it is, and there was even accusations of possible human trafficking on top of some essaying and drugging situation. So it was dark, it was bad. People knew that they could kind of do whatever they want with these people because it's like they might just be passing through, which is very sad. So, there's all this illicit drug production going on here. And so it just became a really dangerous area. And it's not abnormal for people to be reported missing. And Humboldt County has the highest per capita number of missing people in the state of California. It's also known as like the second most murderous place. And a large number of these people are located, I will say, but they're located after weeks have gone by. They're in a terrible state. Very weird things happen. So it still remains that people disappear way too frequently here, whether temporary or in some cases permanent. Christine Walters is sadly one of the more permanent seeming ones, and she's part of a group called the Humboldt County Five. They're called because between 1993 and 2014, 5 young women between the ages of 16 and 35 disappeared in Humboldt County, California. And unlike the large majority of missing persons cases, these 5 have not been solved. And even though their cases are not connected, which usually is why you would lump people in and give them a title, they were grouped together because of being in this area and how suspicious all of their disappearances were. Again, like I said at the start, it wasn't just like they went on a hike or they went on a drive and vanished, or like, oh, the family didn't talk to this person anyways. Like, we don't know. It was like, they're so strange, very connected to family, very connected to their friends, and all of them, bam, suddenly went missing. So they've been lumped together to bring more awareness and say we need to find these 5 women who have been missing for years and years. Besides Christine Walters, it is Sheila Franks, Danielle Bertoloni, Jennifer Wilmer, and Karen Mitchell. And one of Karen's potential foul play suspects was Fred Durst. Not Fred Durst. That's the singer of the band.
Bob Durst?
I even looked at the name Bob and I said Fred.
Fred Durst. Can you believe it? And he's still out there performing today. Singing Did It All for the Nookie. And it's like, what Nookie?
We needed that after this depressing story. I even Bob Durst is in my notes and I said Fred because it just felt right in my heart. Fred Durst did nothing. Let me clarify. Actually, I don't know.
Fred Durst is innocent.
No, I think Fred Durst is innocent. I'm going to scream. That was so funny. Bob Durst is one of her potential suspects. Because
remember when wearing a red hat just meant you were a fan of Limp Bizkit and wasn't a sign of sociopathy? Yeah.
Oh my God, that was
Bob Durst.
I know.
Seriously?
I know, because sorry, I have to get over this hump of saying Fred. He was in Eureka, California at the same time that Karen Mitchell went missing, and she was last seen talking to an older gentleman fitting his description almost Exactly. And this was like, he
Bobby.
happened to be visiting in like this 3-day span where Karen was starting to act a little strangely and then went missing. But that dead, evil idiot will never be able to confirm this for us. So unfortunately, Karen will probably go down a mystery. But that is the Humboldt County Five, and that is Christine Walters. It's pretty wild.
Man, you know, she's definitely fits the stereotype of someone who would join like a cult.
Totally.
So in that way, there's a part of me that's like, maybe she is still alive. Maybe she joined a group of people, a group of, you know, like-minded individuals, and she's still out there. But with everything else that you've uncovered, and the thing about these like marijuana farms, like you don't even have to be working on one of them. If she's on a walk and she accidentally walks into a marijuana farm, they're not going to be like,
Hey
hey,
girl, welcome. Yeah, like that is
no,
dangerous
they
territory.
shoot people who
Right.
walk
You will be
on.
shot for trespassing. Yeah. And it's like, obviously, that has changed somewhat over time. I mean, even though marijuana is legal, there still are underground things that happen. But I like at this time, it had to be so protected. And these people did become
Yeah,
evil and they preyed on people like her. So again, she totally could have
totally.
just been walking and like got into the wrong situation. But also maybe she was like, hey, I need to make some extra money. Like, I'm mortified that I keep asking my parents for money. Can you help me? And who knows? But
Yeah. Lord in heaven. That's so crazy.
the missing.
The missing. Well, I have something that'll kind of cheer us up, which I think we
Good.
need.
We need it.
Yeah, coming out of this episode. This is do dee do dee do dee do do bum bum da do unsolved mysteries. It's actually very hilarious to have that big opening moment just to tell this story, but it is an unsolved mystery, damn it.
I'm
Okay.
so excited just by that intro alone, Ashley. Give it to me.
Back in 1969, there was a pretty major space flight. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's Apollo 11.
We went to the moon.
We went to the moon
in 1969. All right.
3 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, landed on the moon, marking the very first time a human being has touched down on the Earth's only natural satellite. It was amazing, and everyone was so excited.
It was so great.
It was so good. But that wasn't the only space flight that year. Apollo 10 was a mission that lasted from May 18th to May 26th of 1969 and was essentially a dress rehearsal for Apollo 11. And this trip saw astronauts John Young, Thomas Stafford, and Gene Cernan into space to test all the spacecraft components and procedures just short of the actual descent and landing on the moon. So they just want to get to the moon, orbit it however many fucking times, I don't remember, and then get back. And if they could do that, then they knew that they could get to the moon, land, take off, and get home. It was a total success, obviously, which is why we had Apollo 11. But there's a mystery aboard that ship that remains unsolved to this day. 6 days into the mission, when the crew was discussing their preparations for leaving the moon's orbit and heading back to Earth, something strange occurred. And I'm going to read the transcript right now. "Oh, who did it?" Commander Tom Stafford asked. "Who did what?" asked John Young. "Where did that come from?" injected Eugene Cernan. A full turd was floating around their ship. Now, that's not like...
Who released the turd? Oh.
That's not insane. Because at the time, the technology for
Is
which...
it not?
Well, for the technology for which these astronauts had and relieved themselves was very low tech. The spacecraft waste management consisted of a plastic bag taped to their butts to capture feces, and pieces could,
well, that's not good,
from time to time, escape and float around the spacecraft. But This turd, the weird thing about it is that none of the astronauts claimed it. You can read a transcript of their conversation with Houston. I'm going to read a few more lines because it's so fucking funny. I didn't do it. It ain't one of mine. I don't think it's one of mine. Mine was a little more sticky than that. Throw it away. So then they continue talking about the mission, and then this was said. They said on 135, they told us that, here's another goddamn turd. What's the matter with you guys? And then there's a bunch of laughter. And another guy says, well, babe, if it was me, I sure would know if I was shitting on the floor. And then another guy says, it was just floating around. And then the other guy says, I'm telling you, mine was stickier than that. So to this day, none of the astronauts have admitted to pooping, and no one knows whose butt.
Where the turd came from. Whose butt released it?
Whose butt?
I am so on team sticky because, like, you know the consistency of your
own
poop, and like if you're seeing like a dry turd floating around, you're like, that didn't come from me. I was like struggling. Like I had sticky. Like I ate something I shouldn't have last night. Like it was like a 4 wipes situation. So I support him. That's a king, and I think it was whoever was the first to point it out. I don't know if that was the same person both times, but whoever smelt it dealt it. You know what I mean?
I think it was the commander. I think Tom Stafford was the one that was like, who did it? And they were like, who did what?
Yeah, and if you're the commander, you're not going to take fault. So you're not going to
be like,
immediately start accusing everybody.
Shit myself, and now it's floating around the command. 2 turds. 2 mystery turds.
And there's 2 turds released from my butt. I can't believe there's 2 mystery turds. Ugh. And it definitely was human. Like, it's not what's that movie? Rocket Man, where it's like the little monkey on board. Like, was there an
I don't think they had a monkey on board. No.
Okay,
no.
then.
I don't think they had a monkey.
I really wish. We'll never know.
We will never know. We will never know whose turd it was. And that's why it's an unsolved mystery.
It was the commander. It's a really great unsolved mystery. It's what we needed this week. It's what we needed this episode. Honestly, I brought it real down, but we needed it. Yeah. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful.
You're so very welcome. That's all the time.
Also, I'm laughing now that you gave me any shit for saying we can't both have an unsolved mystery, which you didn't. You were like, I guess we'll both have one. Because yours doesn't count.
Why? How is that not an unsolved mystery?
I mean, it does, but like, how dare you? That is so funny. I kind of only want us to bring these kinds of mysteries now.
Whose butt?
Whose butt? That could be a whole new segment. Like, whose butt was it?
Whose butt was it? Yeah, it reminds me of that. We had a listener ghost story years ago that I fucking loved about the 2 girls that heard the fart in the room, and they like knew that it wasn't either one of them. And then one of them got a text on the phone from a number that was like a Mexico number that said, who farted? Do you remember that fucking story? It was insane.
Yes, it was like, what? Like it was a true ghost fart.
Yeah, it was a mystery fart. Anyways, that's all the time we have this week. Tune in for more episodes where we ask whose butt was it? Thank you so much for listening to our show. Follow us on Instagram at Keep It Weirdcast. We're also on Twitter. We're sort of. Don't follow us on Twitter. Twitter's a fucking cesspool anyway. I'm leaving that place. So follow us on Instagram and TikTok, please. We also have a Facebook group where we all post memes and funny stuff, and it's a lot of fun. And that's just Keep It Weird Podcast. Join our Patreon if you haven't already, www.patreon.com/keepitweirdpodcast. You can get bonus episodes every month. You can get discounts on merch. You can get ad-free episodes if we ever post an episode with ads in the middle. We'll post an ad-free one on there. You can also sponsor a segment of our show. There's a lot of cool things you can do over there. So consider joining because it helps us out more than you could possibly ever know.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. And we did a bibliomancy episode that basically told us the world was going to end, and we didn't believe it. But now we're wondering.
I know. Now we're looking back, wondering
things.
if we should have listened to it. It did tell us, for the most part, that we should continue on with the podcast, though, and that, like, even through Stassi Schroeder Listen to the
Mm-hmm.
episode if you want context on that. Stassi Schroeder told us that like it's hard and she almost gave up, but she didn't.
She
And
didn't.
so we will keep going.
So we're going to keep on going.
Anyway,
let's spin the wheel and see how we're going to end this episode today. It's a random question. Perfect.
Question.
Read all about it. Lauren's got a question and we want to talk about it. Go questions.
Ooh, I feel like I've wanted to ask you this for a while, and maybe I have in like certain forms, but what is the weirdest thing that you absolutely believe to be truth as a kid?
As a kid?
Mm-hmm. Like that you've now found out probably wasn't real, but you were like, this is true. This is my life. Maybe you didn't have that because you were actually like a pretty intelligent kid.
What did I believe in as a kid that was so weird and I knew was true?
I believed, while you think about it, I believed that women could get pregnant by taking a pill because, and this is fully Jane Meyer's fault, calling you out. I hope you listen to this episode. She wasn't ready to have the sex talk with me when I was about 6 or 7, which like fair. I wasn't ready for it. And I said, like, how are babies made? I will never forget. It's funny, those things that just like are in your memory. Because I brought this up to her recently and she was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I was like, how are babies made? Like, where did we come from? Like, I know I was like in your belly, but like, how did I start growing?
How'd I get
and she
there?
was like, I took a pill. The doctor gave me a special pill and I grew you. And then you just magically came out. Like nothing about like pushing or possibly like having a C-section. It was just like, and then there you were. And so for many years, like I actually don't, I'm not going to say on air the age when I like really figured it out, but it was a long time that I thought there was, even like when I knew I was starting to learn about sex, I still thought there was a select few.
You gotta take a pill.
People who maybe just took medicine and had a baby. All right, Ashley, please say something.
Which is very funny because like it's the opposite of that. Like you take pills to specifically not have the baby.
Correct. And then I took one of those pills when I was in high school. So it's hilarious. But I just remember being like, oh yeah, like most people, they get pregnant from sex. But like, do you know about this little population that takes the pill?
Does anyone know about the baby pill? Yeah, we all know about the baby pill. We're trying to protect our rights to take it. I have one, yeah, actually, that like you, for far too long, I completely believed and even confronted my dad to be like, why would you tell me this? So I believed until about 2022.
Oh, recent.
That frogs, if they peed on you, you would get warts.
Oh, your dad told you that?
Yeah. And that was a fact for me until 2 years ago. Until I was 34 years old, I believed that frogs peed on you and you got warts.
So have you been avoiding frogs?
Oh, hate frogs.
Like the plague.
Hate frogs.
Hate them. They're so cute.
No, they are not. Lauren, they are not cute.
Oh.
Tree frogs are cute, but they live in the fucking Amazon, and I've never seen one in IRL. I see toads and fucking frogs. I always had an aversion to frogs.
No.
Because as a kid, I would run around my yard barefoot a lot. I don't know if you've ever stepped on a frog barefoot and felt the life below your foot extinguish. It's fucking horrifying. So, like, I didn't like that.
Unfortunately, I have. I think, is that a Midwest experience? Or living by a creek? I think so. Not a creek, but a crick?
Yeah. A crick. We had a crick in the backyard. We had a lot of frogs in the yard. I always had to fish them out of the pool, like the filter in the pool, and they smelled. I have no good memories of frogs. Oh, also driving in the Midwest during like rain. You could see frogs hopping across the street and there was nothing you could do and you could just hear them smack the front of I just have a lot of like really
that's
negative
fair. Frogs are gross.
Associations with frogs.
I don't know why
and
I
literally texted my dad and I was like, why did you tell me that frog pee gives you warts? And he texted back, it doesn't.
Oh, he didn't know either?
And I was
Or was
like,
he
okay.
still being sarcastic?
I don't know. But he either lied to me or
I wonder
he
if he was
believes
messing with
it.
you or if he believed it too.
I think he actually
Oh,
because I think that's a thing.
Ron.
I think that's a thing that like his parents told him
No, a lot of people say it.
and he told me, and my dad told me, so it's true. And I never questioned it.
Right. If your dad tells you something.
Dad said
Yeah,
frogs
you
give you
believe it.
warts.
I mean,
so frogs give you warts. The end.
it's similar to people licking frogs to have psychedelic experiences, and we learned that that is like only like half true in the most special of situations. There's like 2 frogs in the world that might.
None of them live in Illinois.
I know, but it was like I believed that for so long. Not that I was excited to lick a frog, but it is just funny, like those lies that we believe for so
My
long.
whole
Like,
life.
don't lick a frog, don't let it pee on you.
My whole life.
Don't
So-
take a baby pill unless it's to prevent. Those still
Yeah.
work.
And stock up on those. Stock up on those baby pills, ladies. JIC, just in case.
I know, honestly, now's the time.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We love you guys so much. Please write in and tell us the weird things that you believed your whole life that turned out to be untrue.
I know, this is a fun question.
Because we all fucking have them. And we'll see you very soon. Keep it weird.
Keep it weird.